Okay. Yes. Mwah. Hello. Good evening and welcome to Something for Kids Storytelling. I want to introduce you, if you didn't remember from yesterday, this is Emily. She's a Chihuahua and she is a good jumper and one of my favorite dogs. Mwah. There you go. Oh. So welcome back to Storytelling, Something for Kids. Yesterday we began our journey with a wonderful book that I've loved for many years, ever since I was a little kid, by C.S. Lewis, called The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And in June the 22nd through the 26th, from 5 to 8 o'clock, Monday through Friday, this year we'll have our Vacation Bible School. Aslan is on the move, and this is in preparation for that, and also a nice thing to do while we're all told to stay at home. I want to thank you for turning back in tonight, and I hope our Facebook live stream and our video are going well, and we'll get into the book in just one second. I want to ask if you are comfortable, and maybe you need to arrange your pillow like me. If I'm going to read, I probably need to put on my glasses so I can read and not get my finger caught in that, and maybe move some of my thumbprints off of the glass so I can see the words instead of my thumbprints. And let's see. Oh, there you are. So, if you have something nice to drink, like a glass of water or a cup of milk or a cup of nice hot chocolate, we are going to rejoin the 4 Pevensie children who are visiting their uncle in the countryside to keep them safe. And it was a rainy day, and they decided to go searching and investigating this large house of their uncle's. And Lucy found an enormous wardrobe, and as she kept going through the wardrobe, though she kept the front of it open as you should, she kept waiting to feel the back of the wardrobe, and there was none. And from coats and fur coats that felt really good, she started to feel fir trees, and instead of crunching mothballs below her feet, she started crunching in the snow. And that's where we left off yesterday. This is from the chapter 1, Lucy Looks into a Wardrobe. Lucy felt a little frightened, but she felt very inquisitive and excited as well. She looked back over her shoulder, and over there, between the dark tree trunks, she could still see the open doorway of the wardrobe and even catch a glimpse of the empty room from which she had set out. She had, of course, left the door open, for she knew that it was a very silly thing to shut oneself into a wardrobe. It seemed to be still daylight there. I can always get back if anything goes wrong, thought Lucy. She began to walk forward, crunch, crunch, crunch over the snow and through the woods towards the other light. In about 10 minutes, she reached it and found that it was a lamp post. As she stood looking at it, wondering why there was a lamp post in the middle of a wood and wondering what to do next, she heard the pitter-patter of feet moving towards her. And soon after that, a very strange person stepped out from among the trees into the light of the lamppost. He was only a little taller than Lucy herself, and he carried over his head an umbrella, white with snow. From the waist upwards, he was like a man, but his legs were shaped like a goat's. The hair on them was glossy black, and instead of feet, he had goat's hoofs. He also had a tail, but Lucy did not notice this at first because it was nearly caught up over the arm that held the umbrella so as to keep it from trailing in the snow. He had a red woolen muffler round his neck, and his skin was rather reddish too. He had a strange but pleasant little face with a short pointed beard and curly hair, and out of the hair stuck two horns, one on each side of the forehead. I guess that would be here. One of his hands, as I have said, held the umbrella. In the other arm he carried several brown paper parcels. What with the parcels and the snow, it looked just like he had been doing his Christmas shopping. It was a fawn. And when he saw Lucy, he gave such a start of surprise that he dropped all of his parcels. "Goodness gracious me!" exclaimed the fawn. End of chapter 1. Should we go a little bit into chapter 2, if that's okay with you? I think we can. We have a little bit more time. Chapter 2, What Lucy Found There. "Good evening," said Lucy, but the fawn was so busy picking up his parcels at first, he did not reply. When he had finished, he made a little bow. Good evening, said the fawn. "Excuse me, I don't want to be inquisitive, but should I be right in thinking that you are a daughter of Eve?" "My name's Lucy," she said, not quite understanding him. "But you are, forgive me, you are what they call a girl?" asked the fawn. "Of course I am a girl," said Lucy. You are in fact human?" "Of course I'm human," Lucy, still a little puzzled. To be sure, said the fawn. "How stupid of me. I've never seen a son of Adam or a daughter of Eve before. I am delighted, that is to say," and then he stopped as if he was going to say something he had not intended, but had remembered in time. Delighted. He went on, "Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mr. Tumnus." "I'm very pleased to meet you, Mr. Tumnus," said Lucy. "And may I ask, O Lucy, daughter of Eve," said Mr. Tumnus, "how you have come into Narnia?" "Narnia? What's that?" said Lucy. "This is the land of Narnia," said the fawn, "where we are now. All that lies between the lamppost and the great castle of Cair Paravel on the eastern sea. And you have come from the wild woods of the west?" I got in through the wardrobe in the spare room," said Lucy. "Ah," said Mr. Tumnus in a rather melancholy voice, "if only I had worked harder at geography when I was a little fawn. I should no doubt know all about those strange countries. It is too late now." "But they're not countries at all," said Lucy, almost laughing. "It's only just back there, at least. I'm not sure. It's summer there." "Meanwhile," said Mr. Tumnus, "it is winter in Narnia, and has been for ever so long, and we shall both catch cold if we stand here talking in the snow. Daughter of Eve, from the far land of Spare with the eternal summer, reigns around the bright day of wardrobe. How would it be if you came and had tea with me?" "Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Tumnus," said Lucy, "but I was wondering whether I ought to get back." "It's only just around the corner," said the fawn, "and there'll be a roaring fire, and toast, and sardines, and cake." "Well, "It's very kind of you," said Lucy, "but I shan't be able to stay long." "If you take my arm, daughter of Eve," said Mr. Tumnus, "I shall be able to hold the umbrella over both of us. That's the way. Now, off we go." And so Lucy found herself walking through the wood arm in arm with this strange creature, as if they had known one another all their lives. They had not gone far before they came to a place where the ground became rough, and there were rocks all about and little hills up and little hills down. At the bottom of one small valley, Mr. Tumnus turned suddenly aside as if he was going to walk straight into an unusually large rock. But at the last moment, Lucy found he was heading her into the entrance of a cave. As soon as they were inside, she found herself blinking in the light of a wood fire. Then Mr. Tumnus stooped and took a flaming piece of wood out of the fire with a neat little pair of tongs and lit a lamp. "Now, we shan't be long," he said, and immediately put a kettle on. Lucy thought she had never been in a nicer place. It was little, dry, clean cave of reddish stone with a carpet on the floor and 2 little chairs, "one for me and one for a friend," said Mr. Tumnus, "and a table and a dresser and a mantelpiece over the fire, and above that a picture of an old faun with a grey beard. In one corner there was a door which Lucy thought must lead to Mr. Tumnus's bedroom, and one wall was a shelf full of books." Lucy looked at these while he was getting out the tea things. They had titles like "The Life and Letters of Silenus," or "Nymphs and Their Ways," or "Men, Monks and Gamekeepers," "A Study in Popular Legend," or "Is Man a Myth?" "Now, daughter of Eve," said the faun, and it really was a wonderful tea. There was a nice brown egg lightly boiled for each of them, and then sardines on toast, and then buttered toast, and then toast with honey, and then there was sugar-topped cake, and when Lucy was tired of eating, the faun began to talk. He had wonderful tales to tell of the forest. He told about the midnight dances, and how the nymphs who lived in the wells and the dryads who lived in the trees came out to dance with the fauns, about long hunting parties after the milk-white stag who could give you wishes if you caught him, about feasting and treasure-seeking and the wild red dwarfs in deep mines and caverns far beneath the forest floor, and then about summer when the woods were green and old Silenus on his fat donkey would come to visit them, and sometimes Bacchus himself. And then the streams would run with wine instead of water, and the whole forest would give itself up in jollification for weeks on end. Not that it isn't always winter now, he added gloomily. Then, to cheer himself, he took out from its case on the dresser a strange little flute that looked as if it were made of straw, and began to play. And the tune he played made Lucy want to cry and laugh and dance and go to sleep all at the same time. It must have been hours later when she shook herself and said, "Oh, Mr. Tumnus, I'm sorry to stop you, and I do love that tune, but really I must go home. I only meant to stay for a few minutes." And we'll end our story today right there, and I'm marking my place so I can find it again tomorrow night. What do you think of the story so far? Do you think Mr. Tumnus is an interesting person? Half man and half faun? And boy, isn't little Lucy brave to go through the wardrobe into this new land called Narnia. Well, before I let you go, I heard from one of our viewers that they liked the song I sang last night. And reminding myself as the song's title says, to count my blessings, I'm wondering what you might be thankful for tonight. Can you think of one or two things that you are thankful for? Perhaps you or your mom or dad or your guardian can type them in and let me know what you are thankful for. I'm thankful for this warm home on a cold night. I'm thankful for my 3 favorite doggies. I only have 3. And I'm thankful for Paco. I guess that's more than 2 things, huh? Anyway, let me sing this song, one of my favorites, called Count Your Blessings. When I'm worried and I can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and I'll fall asleep counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I think of when I had none at all, and I fall asleep counting my blessings. I think about a nursery and I think of curly heads, and one by one I see them as they slumber in their beds. If you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep counting your blessings. I want to wish you a good night's rest, and God bless. Good night.